Meghan Markle's recently released Netflix cooking show has become embroiled in controversy, with the author focusing on the perceived inauthenticity of the production and the use of non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, to silence staff members. The author criticizes the show's production values, suggesting that it prioritizes superficial aesthetics over genuine culinary content and questions the ethical implications of silencing those involved in its creation. The author begins by highlighting the inherent absurdity of the premise, a duchess pretending to cook in a rented house. This initial critique sets the stage for a more extensive analysis of the show's production and the surrounding controversy. The author emphasizes the show's apparent lack of authenticity, describing the kitchen set as overly stylized and prioritizing decorative elements over genuine culinary activity. The author uses the phrase, "flowers are sprinkled more than actual food is cooked," to illustrate the perceived disconnect between the show's aesthetic and its purported culinary focus. The central focus of the author's critique is Meghan Markle's reported decision to impose NDAs on 80 staff members involved in the show's production. The author frames this decision as a significant ethical breach, suggesting that it reflects a lack of transparency and trust. The author contrasts this approach with the typical expectation that a successful production would encourage positive testimonials from its crew members. The author argues that if the show were genuinely successful and authentic, there would be no need to silence those who worked on it. Instead, their positive experiences would serve as organic promotion. The author questions the rationale behind the NDAs, suggesting that Markle's intention may be to control the narrative surrounding the show and prevent any negative information from being released. The author speculates that Markle may be hoping to use staff members in future promotional materials, implying that their endorsements would be less credible due to the legally binding nature of the NDAs. This raises concerns about the authenticity of any such endorsements and suggests a manipulative approach to public relations. The author uses the phrase, "desperate attempt at PR," to describe Markle's strategy, emphasizing the perceived lack of genuine confidence in the show's quality. The author suggests that the need to silence staff members indicates a lack of faith in the show's ability to stand on its own merits. The author further criticizes the show's production values, suggesting that its superficial aesthetics mask a lack of genuine culinary substance. The author concludes by summarizing the central points of the controversy: the perceived inauthenticity of the show's production, the use of NDAs to silence staff members, and the questionable ethical implications of this approach. The author emphasizes the contrast between the show's carefully crafted image and the alleged reality of its production, suggesting a deliberate attempt to create a false impression of authenticity. The author's overall tone is highly critical, portraying Markle's actions as manipulative and desperate, and questioning the credibility of her public image. The author leaves the reader with a sense of skepticism towards the show and its production, suggesting that the use of NDAs reveals a lack of confidence in its ability to withstand public scrutiny. The author's use of phrases like full-on Hollywood, secret society, and desperate attempt at PR reinforces the negative portrayal of Markle's actions and the perceived inauthenticity of her cooking show.